Okay, pilot, just to give an introduction to Ziad, who doesn't need it, but still. I have the privilege to host Mr. Ziad Bassil in a small community of flying enthusiasts. We all know Ziad from his excellent work on Dust of the Universe as a wonderful reference when we are looking to purchase that precious new gear. Ziad has over 30 years of flying experience and an immense log of paragliding gear review, to which he has been most generous in his outlook and non biased approach. Ziad, over the years, has also interviewed many paraglider designers and has a first hand insight into the evolution of a sport for over 3 decades. Ziad, it is an honor to have you with us today. Thank you. Uh, to begin, Ziad, how is the lockdown affecting the pilot in you?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah. My question to you, how is the lockdown
Uh,
affecting the pilot in you?
okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me with you. Of course, seeing the weather outside and not being able to fly is a bit frustrating. But then again, it depends on how you see it. I mean, for me, the lockdown helped me a bit to think a bit differently, to focus on small details, on small personal matters. If it's flying, about other things in life. Uh, I see the lockdown like a fast moving train for a long time, and we are all in it. And then it stops suddenly at one station, and then now you can see everything clearer, and small details. And I think it's good. It's like a reset for each one of us, and I take it positively better. I mean, of course, it's not all about flying; it's about yourself, and I like that. But I hope it will not last too long.
Yeah, we
That's
don't want to know ourselves sometimes too much. Yeah. All right. Uh, so, Ziad, we would like to begin with a brief on how this flying caught up to you. How did you get into flying? Where did your journey of paragliding begin? And of course, I'd like to, listen to the podcast with Gavin that you had, where you
yes,
mentioned that you
yes.
started your career on a comp wing in Lebanon. Is that right?
It was yes, it wasn't really a comp wing. Maybe yes, but I will tell you what wing it was. So yeah. Uh, how you asked me before the question before about the what you asked
Okay,
me
let's
before?
start with how did you get into flying? How did you get into paragliding?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So since I was young, I mean, I always dreamed to fly. Like maybe each of one and any of us.
Yeah.
So in Lebanon, there was nobody flying here, and it was very difficult to fly. And now, and I was small, I was to learn how to fly a plane, a jet plane, and it was difficult. We have war here, and it was really difficult for
Yes.
us. So since the early 90s, I was driving on the highway and I saw some 20 paragliders flying, all colored like fuchsia colors, green colors, like those flashy colors about the
Yes.
90s.
Yes.
And I was stunned, and I immediately go where they landed. There were some 20 pilots coming from France, and a sports sponsor brought them here into Lebanon, to promote the sport probably. But one Frenchman stayed here. His
Hmm.
name is Laurent, and he stayed for a week. He taught me how to fly on a very small wing, and
Okay.
I made the just a three a little bit of downwind, down 20-meter
Yeah.
jump glider, and then he flew back, and then he sent me a glider. It's called a UP Stellar. It's
Okay.
I think this glider, Yuli Weissmeyer broke the record in the Nevada. I don't know. But
On.
anyway, it was a good glider. It was a certified glider. I don't think, but it was a large one. It's 90, 120, and I was while flying it on the bottom of the weight range.
Okay.
It was, so it wasn't good anyway. But of course, it was a bit difficult for me at first to fly at thermals. I flew it at first time, and it handles really difficult for me. I don't know anything. So I started to fly early in the morning and late in the night, and work myself a little bit. But the most important thing that let me know that glider was to play on the beach, on the dunes, lots of hours. I mean, till
Okay.
sunset every day for lots of time. So I understood all about that glider, all about the pitches, how it reacts, and everything. And I bought two books, two beautiful books from France immediately after I learned it. They're called Parapente and Parapente Plus in French. It's
Okay.
Gérald Delorme, the
Okay.
author.
Yes.
Very funny pictures and very nice comments about the books, and they helped me a lot. So I had only these to learn,
Okay.
because in Lebanon, really, at that time, only we were two to fly. After some pilots came from two Lebanese pilots learned in France, and two in the US, and they came. So we were a group, and we began little by little. That's it.
Excellent. So, what created Dust of the Universe, Ziad? I mean, how did this whole journey of
Yeah.
gear review begin? Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so in that period, the first 2 years, in the first 2 years, yeah, there's one thing I didn't mention, that I had with my UP glider, because it handles very roughly in the conditions. I needed a glider that I could understand, because being alone in a country and discovering a dangerous sport, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like paragliding alone without knowing the weather and everything was a bit difficult. I mean, so those books helped a lot. They talked about the weather and everything. And the other thing that I purchased after 1 year or 6 months, yeah, I don't remember, uh, a Pro Design Challenger. It was
Okay.
adapted to my learning. It was a comfortable glider to begin paragliding, and I was alternating both of them. And when I flew that glider, I understood the movements in the air better. What the book
Yeah.
what I've read in the books, because okay, that I understand. The other one was too high, communicated too much for me, and I didn't understand anything. So the adaptation between both, I think this is the main point that created the tests, because in differentiating the both two gliders, I was
Yes.
intrigued on how much they are different.
Yeah.
And in that time also, that I can, like I said, there were pilots who learned also. After 3 to 5 years, there was lots of pilots, and there was a school in Lebanon also, a Lebanese
Okay.
school that teach maybe 200 pilots. And those pilots bought wings, and I was really lucky to try those wings, because I was, just interested to see the
Yeah.
difference also. And this is how it began, and I never stopped since, changing and changing. Maybe I have now flew more than 250, maybe, I don't know, more. Yeah,
Yeah.
more
We
than
have a
that.
track of all of that. We track
Oh,
you.
yeah.
All right. So, Ziad, another thing that came to my mind, do you get any kind of pressure from the manufacturers? Because you are very unbiased in your approach. And I read in your blog that
Yeah,
DJD was not very happy in sending you
yeah.
wings after the
Look,
cure. Yeah.
of course, look, paragliding, as all of you know, it's not only about flying. I discovered that because we have a passion of flying, for all of us, it's like a passion. It doesn't go beyond that box. But anyway, paragliding is a big business, and it's like the food industry. Man, if you want to purchase something, it's like in the marketing procedures, they
Yeah.
can feed the eyes before you feeding the mouse. It's the marketing concept. So everyone wants to talk best about their product, and that's normal. I mean, I really understand them, and and that approach is normal for every manufacturer. And in the past, it was more common to write the glide angles and to say this glider glides 10 and 9, and but it's like marketing. It's nothing. It's just for selling. And yes, I get lots of pressure, but I really respect them all. BGD, Nivuk, and all of them. I mean, they are like our flying partners. I mean, I don't see them like other than that. I respect their work, and I know that their behavior, maybe, I don't know, their policy to pressure to put pressure on me is high, but I tell them that I'm just like I'm writing like any other pilots in the world. We have the social media today, and everyone is free to write whatever he wants. I mean, take the Amazon. If you purchase something at Amazon today, you have to put a rating, a star, and then you have to comment. Some purchasers, I mean, you take that product, you say, okay, that product is not good, and the others say, wow, it's very good, and I like it. I mean, it's a free speech, and each one respects the other, and that's it.
But do you feel any pressure yourself, Ziad? Because a lot of pilots in the world, they look up to Dust of the Universe before they purchase the new gear, you know? They are actually
Yeah, I
looking up to your
understand.
website. So,
You see, I'm really amazed about that. I'm really happy about that. And I don't know how it happened, but because I just tried what I feel. I don't write anything else. I mean, maybe to most of pilots, I could be wrong. And maybe I could be right. This is something I cannot determine. I mean, I can say that what I feel, exactly how I feel it, and I cannot write it anything else. I just write it exactly as I feel like it. So there is a pressure, but I try to write it always, not aggressively. I don't say, for example, that this glider is bad or this glider handles very not really nice. I just say that this glider handles better a bit than that glider, and that glider climbs a bit than this glider on the same loads and everything. And it's not like about one flight. I don't only fly that glider only once to make that statement. And just because my flying sites are small and limited, I know them by heart. I've been flying since every day, and I know them by heart. I know my sites by heart. I know where to go. It's like you in India. You know, if you fly one site, you know the thermal there, and you just go to that thermal, and you know that this time of day, this thermal gets weaker. This thermal gets, you know, that's it. So that's why I'm not being aggressive to them anyway. So I'm just right
no,
what I
you're
have to do.
definitely not. You're definitely not. So, okay, so one thing, Ziad, when we talk about the performance numbers on the gliders that we read on
Yeah.
Dust of the Universe, where you make a comparison, how do you go about testing and arriving at those figures?
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, how to? Okay.
How do you
The
compare our
figures.
gliders?
Okay. Uh, of course, I have to fly the glider. In my experience, I think that most gliders should be flown within the exact weight range. I do believe that manufacturers say that that glider flies from 80 to 100 or from 75 to 95. But usually nobody flies that glider at 75 because it's I mean, I flew my glider, the UP Stellar IP2, and it's 90-120. I mean, you should fly it always. You should fly the glider at the middle top of its weight range. Uh, just because you must be always in control of that glider in all situations. I mean,
Yes.
some pilots will say that, okay, I fly in flatlands in weak conditions. I need to be on the middle less. But I don't think that's flying. I mean that this is the glider that flies you. You're not the pilot who's flying the glider. If you really have a very well loaded on that glider, and you're a pilot that can manage this, you cannot let any thermal go away. If you're not exceeding the load, I mean, just the right load,
Yeah.
not less. And then that exact load, maybe let's take, for example, one size. Flying a 75-95, you can have a gap for 3 to 5 kilos. You can take ballast and you can
Okay.
put yourself maybe to 3 kilos from the best flying weight
Yes.
to later, if the condition drops, you can drop the 3 kilos and you will be okay with that glider,
Yes.
but not more than that. And not if you fly a glider 10 kilos less than the optimum weight, you will be only a passenger, you will not be really a pilot. So I fly that glider. I mean, we were speaking about the performance. This is a good question. I mean, determining performance is not only by numbers. Numbers are just on paper. You cannot really measure a glider anywhere. If you take a glider and you glide into the air and you look at your instrument, even if it's super calm, you will see that the instrument doesn't give you a 1 meter per second minus. It
Right.
will always give you a 0.9, a 1.2, a minus
Yeah.
0.8, always, even in the morning, even in the evening. It's very difficult to find that clear. And those calculations, you cannot measure it. You cannot put an average. And the best is that today's technology is really nice. And the best to determine performance is the term efficiency. I mean, today the gliders must be able to glide through the air, to dig through the air mass. If you have an air mass and the glider bumps into it
Mm-hmm.
and pitch forward and pitch back, you will lose everything.
Yeah.
And in the calm air, you think, look, in calm air, you have two big gliders, two very nice big gliders, and you glide both of them. And both of them will look perfect, the same. Probably the left glider will arrive higher.
Okay.
Now, the condition changes, and you have a valley breeze, and you have lots of components, and you glide again wingtip to wingtip, and the right glider began to cope with the air mass, just slides through the air mass. The other one, it bumps the air mass, and then you arrive later that
Yeah.
the right glider is always higher. And
Okay.
today, all the manufacturers are working on that issue. This is the most important thing. This is the efficiency of a glider.
Okay. So,
That's what I measure. So I don't
okay.
measure in calm air. In calm air, it doesn't mean anything. It's just
Okay. So basically, when you are writing a review for a glider, you check it in all kinds of air conditions and air masses, and then you arrive at a conclusion. Yeah.
yes,
Excellent.
but I have to point out something. You see, when you fly lots of gliders and when you fly every day, lots of pilots now will see what I'm saying. They will feel what's the glider about just by kiting it. I mean, 50%
Okay.
before. When you kite the glider on the sea, it's 50% result, how it will be feel, well, how it will feel in the air. Then you will fly it in one condition, two conditions, the third day, fourth day. And if you don't fly it in the 100% conditions, I mean, you should fly it also maybe in in strong thermals of I don't know where. I mean, in the strongest part of the world. But I mean, this is something you can understand by the behavior of that glider in those conditions.
Right.
Because you are flying every day and you know that glider how it behaves. So if you fly it more often, then you understand how it going to be, how it's going to react in those other conditions.
Okay. I'm going to open up the forum for questions for now. Anybody wants to ask a question? Uday?
Yeah, so participants can unmute themselves and ask.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Arif, please go on.
I'd like to know, Zaid, hi. I want to know the difference between the takeoff weight and increased takeoff weight. Say, I am a beginner. I'm still with my advanced Alpha 6. The weight range says recommended takeoff weight, and next they say increased takeoff weight. What is the difference between that? I'm still not able to understand.
Okay. You take some manufacturers today can certify the glider from a large weight range. So that's like you said, that is the takeoff weight and the extended weight range. I mean, for you, if you fly that glider, it's an A glider. If you fly that glider in the weight range, I mean, in the middle part of that weight range and up, you will be you'll be fine. I mean, and if you want more dynamic feel, more feedback, maybe you can the extended weight range. You can fly it with the same certification. I mean, if you fly it in the higher part of the weight range, it will feel more dynamic. It will feel faster, but you can fly it. It will still be an A glider.
No, sorry, once again. See, they say recommended takeoff weight is 70-95.
95. So if
Increased takeoff weight, they say 95-110.
okay, so this is when the glider has a very big weight range, it means it's a safe glider also. Because less safer gliders, I mean, it has small weight range. Largest weight ranges, it's not a safe glider. If you fly that glider at 95, you will have the mellow feel, just flying cool. But if you want to put ballast and fly it, you can fly it at 105 and still be safe. But a little bit more.
Ziad, we lost you.
We lost you, yeah. Last 30 seconds we couldn't hear. 15-20 seconds.
I'll drop him a message.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing anyone.
Yeah, you need to start the last 30 seconds of your answer again. We lost you somewhere. Hello?
Okay, guys, before he comes, I ask you to take your name and your city name when you're asking questions, so that he'll get to know that, from different cities people are asking questions.
Okay.
Okay, his WhatsApp messages also not getting through, so I think there is some network error at his end.
He's back.
Oh, is it? Yeah, Ziad, can you hear us?
You need to unmute him, KK.
Yeah, hi, good to have you back, Ziad.
Hello? I don't hear anything.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ziad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, yes, great.
Ziad, you were mentioning about the safe gliders when they have a very long range, weight range. Then you were talking about the safety of the glider and the extended weight range. I think we lost him again.
I lost him again.
I think I'll tell him to switch off his video and just be on the voice. You think that'll help?
Hello?
Ziad, you want to try to turn off your video if there is a network error?
No, that won't be nice. Let it be. It's okay. Couple of
Yeah, I mean,
time is fine.
one second, okay? One second.
Okay, this is fine. Yeah.
Guys,
He's gone away.
Yeah, he has gone to tell people to stop downloading.
Yeah, yeah.
it's better now?
Yeah, we see you. Yeah, yeah, this is good.
The connection. Ah, bad connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Arif, you want to repeat your question again?
Now, you were just talking about the increased takeoff weight. The recommended takeoff weight is 70-95, and there is increased
Yes,
takeoff weight
yes.
which says 95-110. You were somewhere between that, and we lost you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we didn't hear you. We didn't. We couldn't hear you. Your answer.
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
hear.
okay,
Can you
okay,
repeat it, please?
okay. Okay, Arif. Okay, Arif.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a glider that has 75-95 weight range, or or that glider has a wide weight range, I mean, it's very safe. Okay, I told you that before, maybe. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so 75-95, if you fly that glider at 95, the reactions will be reactions of an A glider and smooth reaction. Okay, the feedback will be soft. And if you ride that same glider at 110 or 105, the extended weight range, it will be a bit more dynamic. That's it. But it still have the certification of A glider and still be safe.
Okay. Thank you.
We have Sajid next. Sajid?
Yeah. Hi Ziad.
Oh my
Sajid
God,
here.
my connection.
Okay. I can see Ziad touch his head. Okay.
Good connection.
Okay. Can you hear me, Ziad?
Go ahead, Sajid. I think he can hear you.
Okay. Ziad? I think it's... Okay, Ziad, I'm going to ask a question. I'm assuming that you can hear me. My question is regards to the high-end B certification gliders. Continuing with KK, what do you think about this? KK, can you hear me? I think we lost
Yeah,
Ziad.
I can.
We lost Ziad.
Ziad, are you there? Just 1 second.
Okay. Now I'm listening. Yes. I'm
Okay.
hearing you now.
Okay, cool. So my question is about the high-end B gliders, and
Yes.
there is a passive safety that's built into certain gliders at the lower
There
end.
is a
Passive safety. Ziad?
yes.
Okay, so I'm talking about the passive safety
Yes.
that's built into the gliders. So, do you think
Okay.
there is with the new technology? Do you think that there is an increased passive safety along with increased performance, or is it always going to be high passive safety and less performance?
Uh, okay, Sajid. Very nice question. But I think at first we should consider that the safety is always coming from the pilot. Okay, you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ziad.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
So the safety comes always from the pilot. I mean, if you have, and you ask me about the high B, gliders. Uh, at first, I must also say that you have always to understand that you cannot cheat aspect ratio. Like my friend, it's Kelly Farina wrote that, and you cannot cheat that because the aspect ratio always has uh, an impact on safety, on passive safety. Uh, I think in today's technology, you cannot make a 7 aspect ratio glider pass a big glider and talk about passive safety. You should always consider the aspect ratio of that glider. I mean, the aspect ratio projected is the most important than the real aspect ratio. So that's it. And you ask me if there is an increase in passive safety over the years. I mean, of course, the gliders are a little bit better, but sometimes I see some gliders that in the B category that collapses quite easily also. So I mean, that's it.
Okay, Ziad, we lost you a little bit there. I just want to reconfirm what you said.
Oh.
You higher aspect ratios in means lesser safety. Is that right? Higher projected aspect ratio. Is
Yes,
that what you mean?
yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes,
All
of
right.
course.
Okay. Got it. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Appreciate it.
Rohit, you're up next.
Hi,
Within
Ziad.
this category, okay, because Sajid, this category is very big, and that category is the most category that manufacturers sells. And if you want the passive safety of a glider, you should always consider the aspect ratio, always, because today's gliders, high B, are really performant, and I think the manufacturers uses almost the same line diameters and everything, so you will get practically the same glider. I mean, okay, this one climbs a little bit better or handles a bit better. This one is more dynamic. But I mean, for passive safety, it's always related to aspect ratio.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ziad, we have a big fan for you. Rohit, you're up.
Hi, Ziad. I've been
Hi,
a
Rohit.
really big fan of your work, and for last 10 years, I do
Thank you.
almost read each and every review judiciously, try to interpret what you don't say often, reading between your lines. Okay, so the question that I have today for you, Ziad, we have two trends in ENC glider. I fly ENC gliders now. Uh,
Okay.
Trend one, likes of BGD Cure or Air Design Volt 3, who has a large aspect ratio, 6.5, but
Yes.
less cells and relatively easier. Then we have gliders with 6.2 aspect ratio, smaller than that, but lots of cells, right? Have you seen any? Um, I mean, my first question is, what's the safety aspect of between these two? How do they achieve more or less performance? And is it just done for the weight management? Everyone likes lighter weight gliders these days. So less number of cells, less internal work, less weight. What's your take
Okay.
on these two trends?
I understand. I mean, like also from 6 aspect ratio from 5.8, the old one, the Sigma 5.9, to the 7 aspect ratio gliders like the or 6.8 to Trango X-rays, and they all in that C box. And in that box there are regular gliders and light gliders. As for passive safety, always consider that the aspect ratio has always will determine the passive safety of that glider. I mean, if you say that I have the Volt, which has 6.5 aspect ratio, and the Cure, both of them are really nice gliders. I think it's all about if you take those two. I mean, the internal structure of that glider will define which is most easier for the pilot. If the glider wobble a lot in the air and you need constant adjustment, then that you will lose the performance of it, and then also you will not fly it. I personally privilege gliders that can be easy fly, because after all, you're not going all in the competition. If you're going into competition, you all will fly CCC and uncertified. I mean, if you fly for fun and we have safe gliders, it's much better for all of us, knowing that the performance is really close. I mean, it's really close for a B and even for a C. For high B gliders, if you take, for example, a good pilot, a very good pilot, on a high B glider, on a good high B glider, and regular pilots on C gliders, I really think that he can outperform them all.
Yes.
And he can make the longest flight.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because he had the skill to use the maximum of performance of that wing. So again, to your question, if you want to see which is the most performant, I mean, it's related to each individual, each pilot. If you can control your CCC glider at the top end and then you fly it 6 hours, and you will be easy, cool, and relaxed, and you control it, then you will be performant your CCC glider, and so on the C glider. On that C box, if you fly all of them, and that pilot can find himself comfortable after 6 or 7 hours of flying, and that glider, then this glider is for him. I personally privilege low aspect ratio C's always. Always I privilege low aspect ratio, but it's a personal choice and it's a pilot's choice. Of course, one thing I have to add, that higher aspect ratio gliders, because of, I don't know, I'm not an engineer to say it, but I feel that high aspect ratio always float better. One second. Always float better, the climb is better. I mean, that's it. But I mean, this is personal. If you're a very good pilot on a 6-point aspect ratio delta 3, for example, or a Queen 2, I mean, you can make wonderful flights and still have a coherent structure.
Sure. So the question was about number of cells.
Number of
cells in the glider.
Cells,
so,
yes.
Yes, some of these glider has more aspect ratio, but less cell. So size of each cell is bigger.
Yes.
How does that change?
Rohit, you see, Rohit, look, the thing that I have to be really clear, it's that I really didn't learn that, and I'm not an engineer to tell you the details. It's like you have to ask maybe the R&D manufacturers. They will know exactly. I only can tell you what I feel between the gliders, and when
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. When I fly those gliders, I mean, I feel that maybe okay. I tell you an example for the Phantom Nova Phantom. You know, that has
lots of
lots of
100 cells. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference between the Nova Phantom and the Nova Mentor?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that feel for me was a more feelable glider. I mean, it was a low B, and it was supposed to be a low B, but that glider was always like getting through the air mass for a low B. It was really nice for a low B. It wasn't. You cannot compare it with an Ion. You can control it with the Mentor, but the Mentor was having a little bit on an edge also on that time. So the Phantom didn't exceed it, but it's like you're flying a little bit higher aspect ratio because of the movements. It's not really dampened. It gives you the right movements in the air. maybe that's it. Maybe that's the lots of cells give you that. But I mean, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we have Bhushan up next. Bhushan, you can go ahead with your question.
Hey, hi Ziad, this is Bhushan here. I'm your new fan here as compared to Rohit. I keep on following all the numbers and I love the comparisons. I've updated sheets and everything. And I also try to follow as much as you
Cut
explain,
off.
even on the videos.
I don't hear anyone.
Can you hear me now?
Ziad, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me? KK, am I
Yeah, I
audible?
can hear you, Bhushan.
Okay.
Bhushan, switch off the
I'm
video.
sorry.
Switch off the video. Keep only audio. Bhushan.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bhushan, but Ziad is not there.
Okay. Rohit, your question is over, man. Go.
I think he's trying to log in again.
Back again. Hello.
Hello, Ziad, you hear us?
I'm sorry, I don't hear you. I don't hear
Yeah,
anyone.
Ziad, can
Yeah.
you hear us? Ziad, do you hear us?
Krishan, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
It's saying your bandwidth is low. Maybe you want to try turning off your video?
My bandwidth. Yeah.
Yeah, you can try to turn off your video, just the video. Do you hear me now, Ziad?
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ziad.
KK, switch
Okay.
off. KK, switch
Yeah,
off.
okay.
Continue, and then later I will switch to my phone. Maybe I have a 4G in my phone.
Okay, because we have a lot of huge line of questions. If you can hear me now, Bhushan, go ahead.
Okay. Ziad, I had
Okay. Okay.
a
Yes.
couple of questions which are pretty much related to what you answered as of now. So I guess they would be short. So first one was, do you see that the material development that goes into building gliders is significantly slowing down now? In the sense, is it plateauing? We have nitinol rods, we have carbon fiber seats, we have Porsche Skytex, the best and the lightest materials. Wings aren't really getting as lighter as they did in the last decade or last 5 years. So do you think it is slowing down, and the glider developers are focusing their attention on some other methods, or perhaps radical designs now? Any new trends that you're observing?
Yes. Hi, Bushan. Yes. After talking with designers about that matter, yes, I think it got to a slow point, and I think the work must be done more on internal structures. There are new materials in the future because they are all using the same material, and everyone and every manufacturer just say the same, that they're getting to a slow point. Yes, you're right.
Right. So, especially with this in mind, and with maxed out or ever maxing out passive safety for any given aspect ratio, do you think the progression for new pilots in the lower end of the spectrum, say from school to low B to high B, do you think that can happen at slightly faster rate than it happened some time ago? Just because the glider takes care of the pilot much more than it did a few years ago.
Of
that?
course. Today's technology is really nice. In the past, uh, we were struggling to inflate the glider in the beginning. Now the gliders inflate by themselves. I mean, if you take any glider, any A, any B glider, you cannot touch the A riser and it inflates, and you can fly without it. But you should control it with the brakes, of course. But yes, those new technology. Today it's very easy to learn. So it's very important that we must consider that we don't really burn the steps, because any glider today, any B glider, it can, if it was a low B or a high B, can get you really anywhere. I mean, unless you wanted to feel the feedback from a C or a D, and you like that feedback, that's
We lost you, Ziad. Ziad,
okay. I'll try again with
just
another
try to turn off your video.
disconnect.
No,
Turn
no,
off.
just the video, only the video. You have an option where you can say stop video. If you click on the three dots,
Okay.
it will say stop video.
Unable to start. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
now this should
I
increase your
did.
bandwidth.
I
Yeah,
did stop video.
now
Yeah.
we can hear you very
Okay.
well. Yeah,
So
Okay.
just
yeah.
the last bit now.
Great.
Last bit now. What I wanted to know is, I hear a lot of inputs from you and many other people I talk to about the performance on bar for C wings and higher. Do you
Yes.
think it's getting any better anytime soon for the B wings, perhaps with bar, the performance with bar? I mean, not just some speed increase or any cues on that, because I honestly don't see much from you. I guess it's because there isn't much to write, but still your thoughts and opinions on it.
Yes, of course, Bushan. I think all of them, all the manufacturers are focusing on the speed at the bar, for the B and for the C, because the performance hands up is almost the same, almost the same, as you can see on my C or my B comparison. Uh, it's very close. So I mean, yes, I'm working more on the performance at bar, and on the way you can control the glider with the C inputs. And the old days we were controlling them by the speed bar. I mean, if you feel a little pressure on the speed bar from your feet, you should release it immediately. Now today they put some sorry, uh, BC controlling I don't know what to call it. Yeah, it's a system. I mean, it's a system to control it from the rear risers, and and I think yes, they should focus on that issue. But your question is that if you fly a sea glider, a top sea glider, and beside a top B glider, what is the difference at full bar? Actually, I really don't see a big difference. If you take a very high B glider, a good high B glider, and a good high C glider, the difference is small, not really big. The difference is big when you fly some D, some the Zeno, Enzo, and this is a big difference you can see.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bhushan. Ziad, we have Debu up next. Debu?
Yes, great.
Yeah, hi.
Hello,
Hi, KK, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Ziad.
Hi, David.
Really nice to have you on our little chat, and thanks for taking the time to
Thank
speak
you.
to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And same as everyone. I'm also a big fan, and I like reading your reviews. It's very interesting, and I think it's really good what you do for our community.
Thank
Um,
you, David.
my my question would be, I mean, I've also been flying for a long time and seen the evolution of the performance. And what, in your opinion, would be the things in the last, let's say, 15, 20, 10 years that have, or the changes in design, or what, in your opinion, would be the things that have made a big breakthrough in performance and safety in paragliding design over the last years?
Yes, Devu, thank you for that question. It's really uh, interesting question. And yes, I think they made the gliders more accessible, I think, because the high Bs are more accessible. And as you have noticed over the years, when we were flying the other gliders, and then we can struggle in front of the air mass, it doesn't really come inside the air mass and bumps and bumps. Now today, if you give a high B glider to a regular pilot, I mean, he flies with you on your D glider next to you. It's not really big. So this accessibility of that glider has evolved a lot in the past years. And it's so easy to learn paragliding in a safe way. That's why I always recommend the fellow new pilots to fly in A glider, in a B glider, and it's not really to rush it and to burn the steps. And that if I fly a D glider, then I must fly better. No, it's wrong. If you fly good a B glider, then you will make a very good result. I think yes, it's the safety and the accessibility of those gliders that are more pronounced today.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks. That makes sense as well. But I mean, on the technical aspects, do you think like the shark nose, has that made a big difference in glider accessibility, and especially in what you talk about the gliders being able to push through the air mass?
Yes, well, that's more interesting question than before. Because the shark nose is a big debate now today, and if it's true or not, but I feel that yes, it's more accessible. That the shark nose, I feel that it gets the pressure more on the structure of the glider, that it doesn't collapse often. And before, you always had collapses. I mean, gliders collapsed a lot. Now it's hard to collapse. But if it collapsed, what are the reactions? And this is a very big topic that I'm sure that no one can answer but the pilot who will face it. Why? Just because every maneuver made in the air and the certification process are very far from the real collapses that often that will see in the real air. I mean, when you collapse, when use collapses in the certification process, in the shark nose, maybe on the high Ds, they put a line just to make a small collapse. But the glider is just above the pilot's head. But when you're flying in mountains and in strong conditions, the glider is everywhere, and sometimes it collapses when it's behind you, and it's front of you, and it's on the right, and those collapses will react much differently and are. So yes, the shark nose is really nice for that feel to cut through the air mass. I feel that. I don't know. I mean, the ozone gliders made nice ones. I mean, the Delta is really nice. But look, if you see the Chili 4 from Skywalk, it's a really nice bee also. I don't know if it has a shark nose or not, or a mild shark nose. I mean, the best shark nose could be used for the CCC gliders. I mean, for speeding up and keeping the pressure on the nose. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thanks for your answer, Ziad. That's interesting. Thanks.
Thank you, Debu. Thank you.
Thank you, Devu. Gokul, you're up next. Gokul, do you hear us?
I can hear.
Yeah, please go ahead
Yes,
with your
hi,
question.
Gokul. Yes.
Hi, sir. This is Gokul from Coimbatore.
Hi,
I
Gokul.
have a question. What's the use of that stabilo lines? Actually, last month only I heard about that, and which is running through the B racer, and it is color different, and which is
I'm
connected
sorry,
to
Gokul.
the wing tips.
Yes, Gokul. You see, I said before, the questions about technical features is really not my field. I mean, I don't know how to say why they put the stabilo line on the Zeno. There is no stabilo line. I really cannot answer that because I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul.
Okay, we have a question from Steve up next. Steve, are you online?
Yeah, how are you doing? Nice to meet you all.
Yes, hi, Steve.
I fly in the UK. I also fly in India. I fly in beer. I love beer. I hope I can come to beer every single year for the rest of my life. And you know, initially when I was a heel pilot, I noticed in the sort of like early 1 or 2 years when I was on my low B that I was really struggling, especially scratching. When other pilots were staying up in the air, I was bombing out a hell of a lot. And
Okay.
so when I moved on and I moved up last year, I bought a high B. I moved from a low B to a high B, but I also made sure that I was on the low range. I was well below the range, which is interesting in terms of your advice because I was discussing that same thing with other people, and also in light of the fact that I like to fly vol biv, and when you fly vol biv, you need to take some gear with you. And what I've actually found is that since I bought my wing, and I'm very very low on that wing, I'm able to scratch a hell of a lot better than I used to. I basically stay up. I don't bomb out. And when I was in beer last year, I flew many many hours, and I had a great time thermaling. And I think some part of it has to do with my weight, on the wing. Obviously it's a wing performance as well, but the fact that I'm loading the wing less, I felt like I was being picked up and pulled into the thermal very very well. So that's how I prefer to fly. I mean, what is your opinion about that? About being able to scratch in terms of the weight and thermal?
Okay. Yes. Look, Steve. The as I said before, I mean, I really prefer to load the gliders from the middle up. And of course, if you have a bigger glider and you fly on the bottom of the weight range, I mean, it will float better. But actually, you will not be mastering that glider in turbulent conditions. You cannot really, if you fly it on the lower part of the weight range in strong conditions, because you will be a passenger, more a percentage. You will be more a passenger than the pilot. Of course, you will float better. I mean, in our soaring side, there's some guy here, and when there is little wind, he flies a tandem, and he just stay in the air all day. I mean, with the 10 kilometer per hour, I mean, stay 5 kilometers, I don't know. It's very light. But if he flies in the strong conditions, I mean, it will be a mess. And that's so on with small gliders. I mean, the big glider, if you fly it in the very strong conditions in the Alps, I don't know, if you fly it on the low bottom, you will have a hard time controlling it. And that's it. That's why I say that it's my personal opinion that I like to fly the gliders from the middle up and work more on my own feel to let the glider inside the thermal. It's much better than to let it float and take me wherever it wants.
What about Volbiv? You know, because when people go on Volbiv, you take at least 10 kilograms or
Yes,
more of weight with you.
yes, exactly. I understand, and the problem is also with light, small pilots. I mean, the small sizes often are really difficult to certify, and that's why pilots get larger gliders. So if you take the glider for your own size, I mean, if you're bivouac, you can you have lots of, I don't know what is your total weight. Can you tell me please your total weight?
Yeah, my weight is 84.
84 you have.
My glider at the moment, the range is I think 92 to 114. So with another 4.5 kilograms from the harness, and I suppose you have to take the wings weight into account as well, don't you?
Okay, Steve. You have a high B glider. You're flying a high B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I suggest that just a suggestion, that you fly a Swift 5 at 75, 95 max. This is a 95 max, 75, 95. Try that one, and you will see how it floats in the very small bubbles, even loaded.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there are gliders built to fly really well, and that one is one of them. So if you
think
can,
it's the performance of the glider rather than the weight.
yes, of course, it's always the performance of the glider. Look at the competition gliders, the CCC glider. When they make competition, they load them up really good to fly, to be fast, and to fly into the air. You cannot fly a CCC glider in the competition in the low range. Imagine that you have a CCC at 90, 110, and you fly it at 90. Of course, the structure is much better, but anyway, you will get surprises in strong conditions.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Ziad, do you need a break, or we're good to go?
No, I'm good. I like to talk about flying.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We have Prateek up next. Prateek, do you hear us?
Yes, are you fine?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Ziad. This is Prateek from Mumbai.
Yes. Hi, Prateek.
I'm a beginner pilot and just recently bought a new B wing, Epsilon 9. My question here is I tried to understand certification, how does it work? And usually, what I notice is many of the low B or the mid B wings, they have a certification of A in almost all the tests, except for a few tests or one test where they would be categorized as B. So, can we really fall back on saying that these are fairly safe gliders, except for those few maneuvers where they were categorized as B?
Hi, Pratik. I think that the glider that the manufacturers put or release, they will always be, let's say that there is 15 top manufacturers, and they are very serious, and they put exactly what is this glider designed for every pilot. The certification of that glider is just a label. You don't have to really look at the certification, because if it's an A or a B, it's just like I said, a certification. So the Epsilon 9 is for pilots who has maybe 50 hours, I mean, in practical all conditions per year. I don't know if I remember correctly. So you don't have to look at the certification, but only to the description of the company, of the manufacturer on the website.
Okay, got it. So basically, what you should go with is what the manufacturer is saying for the glider, that to which audience is the glider really meant for, and maybe evaluate your purchase depending on that.
Okay, the problem, there is really serious manufacturers out there. I mean, the top 5 manufacturers of top 10 manufacturers don't really release a glider unless it's really safe, because they will lose too much. So, I mean, if they say that this glider is meant for beginners, I mean, it's meant for beginners. If it is you cannot, if you're new pilot, You cannot take an epsilon 9 probably just because you see there is a 1B and all A. If you're a beginner pilot and your instructor says, look, Pratik, I think you should get an A glider, then you should get an A glider. I think my best approach here is to ask your instructor. He's the best one to tell you what to take. If he tells you take that glider, I mean, he's right, because he's he's practically know the way you fly and your approach on learning and your steps, and this is the way you should consider. Later on, if you fly more, you will decide by yourself. But I must say one thing for all the pilots, just before I forget. I mean, today's B gliders or A gliders are really competitive. Um, it's not good. It's not good to change the wing often. If you have for the past 3 years a good wing, a good A wing, or a good B wing that you're really satisfied on, or a good C wing anyway, that you're really comfortable with, that you fly it with ease. Don't change it to another one now before 300 hours on it, and then those 300 hours will get you more experience, that you will know that what to do and what to choose, but not before. So just saying that.
Okay, that was really insightful, Ziad. Thank you so much. I think my question is answered.
Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you, Pratik. Karthik, you're up next.
Hi, Ziad. This is Karthik from Bombay.
Hi.
Now that we are talking about structure of gliders, historically we see a fixed number of cells in the B gliders. Do you see the Nova Phantom as a one-off case, or would the manufacturers actually turn towards maximizing number of cells and more rigidity?
Hi, Karthik. Yes, as I said before, um the Phantom has lots of cells. It's a new concept, and there is a new feel under it. So when I flew the Phantom, I was not flying an ion. It was a different feel under it. Of course, it's still a low B, and the certification, the label is a B. I don't know how to tell you if it's good or not, but I think, okay, to be direct, I think the price is really high to have that kind of feel and performance. Okay, so if you say I'm paying, example, I'm paying 2,000 euros for a common B, and I'm paying 2,500 euros for a Phantom, I could tell, yes, okay, no problem, go for it. But if you say I'm paying 4,000 for a Phantom, my own personal opinion, as I'm giving now, I don't think really it's feasible.
Perfect. I think that answered my question.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, up next we have Avi Malik. Hi, Avi.
Hi.
Hi.
So, Ziad, thanks a lot for being here. And my question is, or the discussion, I would like to, continue on the direction of evolution in the wings, in terms of, design, the structure, and the fabric being used. So, the latest is the Nitinol lines. So, I'm flying an XL. Yeah. So, I think it's a big leap. And I'd like to hear your view on, how was your experience with the XL3? Because what I experienced was that it's a very solid wing, because there are metal lines all along the span, and it gives you a very solid, nice feeling. And the feeling I got was, my God, I've not flown a easier glider, actually. And I was trying to do thermaling using the rear risers, and sometimes I would leave everything and it would still, thermal and be solid in climbs with just a little bit of input. and it kept making me feel better and better and better. And I was flying a Cure before this, and I've been flying for about 20 years, and it made me feel like, my God, I've not flown an easier glider. But then I had an experience. I was in the Lee, and there were like serious, massive collapses. And again, it was like vicious. The sound was amazing, like boom, boom. I think because of the metal there, and it was quite kind of vicious, and it demanded like seriously active, fully aware, attentive input to get out of that situation and to get rid of those collapses, etc., and the behavior. I also teach SIV, but it was kind of a fantastic waking up, to the glider, because I was beginning to feel like, that, my God, this metal in the glider like makes it really super easy for, it should be, going in everywhere. So, and especially, when you put the speed bar, this glider is like a hang glider. It's like super and seriously solid.
Okay.
So I've not flown much, but this has been my limited experience on the wing. And how they're taking it, to the next level where they're actually making it safe and solid, but there's a price to pay. So would be interested to hear your view on XR3 if you've kind of flown it, and the evolution in this direction. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you for your question. Yeah, I understand completely what you mean. And yes, I've flown the XR3. I just have to point out today, the XR3 had the same performance, the same flying performance and efficiency in real air as probably the Flow Fusion, the new Sea Glider. It's the same, even in the air, but it feels a lot different. The Fusion is like a mellow, very mellow Sea Glider compared to the XR3. And yes, as I was talking to Debu earlier, the shark nose gives you the stiffness and the feel of a solid glider. And yes, I like the XR3 handling. It's fast on trim. It was faster than the M6, the LM6 also. We were flying both gliders to test fly the LM6 and the XR3. But it was more handful than the LM6. So you find it easy, then it's okay. It's maybe you're okay with the glider. You're flying it. You're the pilot of the glider. But the problem is the after collapse, and all those 7 aspect ratio gliders will need a good input after collapse. I mean, some will need less, of course, but as the aspect ratio increases, it's all about aspect ratio. And you say that, okay, I understand that the collapses, after the collapse, it opened quickly. It's not the iron, the wires inside it. It's the pressure, and it's the way that it was made, that glider was constructed, that makes that recovery and those energetic movements. So I can ask you, I want to ask you, if you fly maybe your Cure, okay, in the same conditions, what you think it will happen? It would stay the same? So what will be the reaction of that Q2?
No, I didn't say that the collapses opened easily, and I'm aware that, it will be not as vicious or as strong in the Cure, because it's more flexy and it might respond, easier. Because here there are, metal rods, and there's a chance that they will, not open that easily, and the collapse can get stuck also.
Yes.
So in that sense, I mean, of course, like Cure I would prefer to be under a Cure when the things are really bad. But yeah, but like otherwise, I think it's because of the metal lines that there is a very solid feeling, and there's an ease in flying, and the glider flies a lot more and needs much less from the pilot. This has been kind of my experience.
Yes, I mean, in average conditions, and you fly it in maybe 50, 60, 70% of the conditions, maybe you can fly it easily. This is the problem, is it's occurred when the conditions are really turbulent, strong, and the lee side of the mountain. Anyway, any glider can collapse, and then the lee side. It's not the problem of the collapse, it's the problem of the recovery. And that's it. So
Yeah, fine, thanks. I mean, what is your forecast in terms of, like, there's more metal coming in the future generations? Are they going to use it down in the lower ranges as well, or what do you think?
yes, if they will use the shark nose, the hard shark nose, and then the collapses will be much like I see. I mean, I'm talking about my own experience, my personal experience. If we have shark nose and aggressive back, like can I say also a back positioning system for the A's, a back positioning A's, and that will have much energetic or dynamic collapses and much energetic openings. And in the future, I don't know if they are going to certify. Yeah, maybe yes, they will certify the sea gliders with the back positioning system. I don't know if they took that decision. Then I think we will encounter the same.
Cool. Thanks, Ziad.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next in queue is me. I think so. I'll go ahead, guys.
Yeah, hi, Alok. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Cool. Zad, so this is Alok. My
hi,
question for you is, with your experience of 25 years of flying, now all of us develop our personal liking or disliking towards things. As a, how do you put yourself, how do you put an unbiased opinion, knowing that, okay, all of us have a personal liking or disliking? In order to be able to review it in an unbiased way, we really have to be monk-like. So how do you achieve that aspect? That is first question. I have another question as well.
Yeah, Alok, can you please ask again? I'm sorry, I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I was asking, how do you keep your opinions unbiased? All of us have a personal liking or disliking towards certain things, and still, how do you manage your reviews unbiased?
Okay, Alok, it's very easy. You should be yourself. I'm myself. When I write only what I feel like. That's it. I'm not related to any company, and I'm free to write like you. I mean, like everyone else in the world. I mean, just I'm going and writing about my opinion. It happens that I flew lots of gliders, and it happened that I have a blog. But I'm no different than any pilot in the world who writes his opinion. That's why I'm totally free and unbiased.
Okay, it was more from an aspect of as an individual, we all have certain tastes, and does that taste, your personal taste, affect your reviews? That was the question was targeted towards.
Oh yes, yeah. I always say that my personal taste for gliders. I mean, I like. And I always state that each pilot has his own requirements and his own taste. That's why I created the B and the C chart, and those charts will let each pilot see that not only my opinion, they will see, okay, that the Delta example, this glider, the Delta 3, handles swifter than that X glider, and that glider climbs a little bit better than that glider. So if a pilot is looking for a good handling glider, he will know what to choose. I mean, for me, I privilege performance gliders with direct handling. I mean, I like really direct handling. I like to be in control each second of a glider, so it's me. But some pilots don't like that, and each one has his own choice.
Okay, and the next question is a follow-up of this question, Ziad.
Yes.
Over the years, now you may have developed your own methods of comparing the gliders. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with experience, did they change over time? And if yes, did you go back and change the reviews of already written reviews, for example, and you figured out, okay, I may have missed something, I should go back and change here?
No, I didn't really. Look, there is a nice sentence from Indian philosopher Krishnamurti. He says, "I maintain that truth that has a pathless land, and you cannot approach it by any path whatsoever. I mean, the truth is there. There is cannot be changed. And if you fly a glider and feel that this glider is good, it's good. You cannot. It's the same. I mean, it's the same concept. I flew gliders on the same spots, on the same takeoff, and on the same sites with my friend that I know very well, and they have this feel also on the glider that they fly the glider also with me to assess me with my opinion, and that's why. And the sites are small. You cannot. It's not a site that is really big, and you cannot go 200 kilometers. No, it's like small sites, and that the comparison will are made in that restricted area. So since I do the performance, it's very clear, and they are very. I didn't alter that because that's it. I fly in moving conditions, and the flight and the testing is made for 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 times, and to understand better this glider. But also there is more. There is something very important, Alok. Yes, something has changed. It's not the way I test. It's the way I think. Today. One second here. I'm, I'm sorry. One second. I'm sorry, I got lost here. You were saying something, Alok. Please, just my second question. Did you answer it? Because I got lost between ideas. I had something to tell you, and I
Yes.
missed it. I don't
So
know.
you were saying that it is the way you think that has changed over the years, and that was my question really. What has changed over the years in terms of reviewing the gliders?
Yes. What changed is that uh, it's that I always privilege the gliders that serve the air mass better. That's it. So that's the thing. But there is something I should tell you, and I forgot it. I'm sorry. I'm just remembering online, and doesn't come to my mind. If it comes again, I'll say it.
In terms of thinking, you were saying that you have changed the way you think about.
Yes, but that's it. That's what I missed now. I mean, that's what I missed saying. I don't remember it. I will come again with it. Okay.
Thank you, Zaid. Overall, from what I understood from your answers, it's a really personal thing for you, and in general, it gives you more trust in your reviews now. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Alok. We have Rexon with us now. Rexon.
Hi, KK.
Hi, Rexon. Please go ahead.
Hi, Ziad. My question is regarding the fabric used for the wing. Some manufacturers use the Dominica fabric, and some are using the Porsche. So, is there any relation of the life of the wing compared to this fabrics used in the wing? or any
Hi,
performance related issues or
hi, Rex.
any relation?
Yeah, hi, Rexon. Yeah, I mean, the fabric's technical questions I really cannot answer because this is related to R&D development, and manufacturers don't have any knowledge about them. But I think the current clothes that are used are really good, much better than before.
Okay. Thank you.
Yusuf, do we have you with us online? Yusuf, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, Zaid. Thanks for taking out the time. And I'm a beginner student with Temple Pilots, and I'm yet to complete my APPI course. So there are a lot of options for the beginners to select which glider to go for. So I
Yeah.
was just browsing a lot of brands. So there is
Yeah.
a brand named Super, and the model name is Iona 2. So I would
Yeah.
like to know what do you feel? What do you think about this glider?
Yeah, but today's gliders, Yusuf, are all very nice. I mean, it's if you ask me before 10 years, I will tell you, okay, probably that one is better, or that one it's good for you. But today, all the A gliders are excellent because the technology and the consistency of doing good gliders. I mean, you will not need more if you choose the one that your instructor tells you, or the one that you consider is cheaper. Super is really nice, and you have all the other brands like Nova, Advance, Ozone, UP, Skywalk, and maybe I'm missing lots, but anyway.
Yeah, so considering the cost factor as well, Superior Aeona 2 is bit competitive pricing when I compared with Advance as well.
Then you go for the one that fits you, of course. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's really
Thank you,
nice.
Zaid. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another caller online. Just give me a second. My system is a little stuck. Yeah, Nikhil. Nikhil, are you with us?
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, please go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes.
Hi Ziad, this is Nikhil.
Yes. Hi.
My question is regarding single wing canopies. So
Yeah.
I've been on ENC wing for last 4 years, and I'm big into hike and fly. So recently I tried some single layer canopies, especially the Nivik Skin series.
Yes.
It's classified as B, but somehow it doesn't feel. When I say feel, just going by the feel, it doesn't feel stable. What's your take on the safety of single layer canopies, irrespective of the whatever safety class that the
Yes.
manufacturer is able on?
I understand completely. The single skin is a new concept. 5 years ago, I think, it's onto the market, and it's very light for hike and fly. But yes, as you say, it's unstable. Just because there is a single skin and the structure is not yet, in my humble personal opinion, is not yet. Uh, how we say it. Uh, perfect perfected. Okay, so I mean, it flies well, it has a B certification, but yes, it's unstable, as you say.
Okay, so even though the safety rating is B, you wouldn't consider it as safe as a normal two layer B glider,
No,
safety wise.
if the manufacturer tells you of the certification is B, then it will behave as a B, of course, but it will still be little bit more handles. It needs more handling. I mean, needs more workout under it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ziad, I have a question for you. What is your take on hammock versus seat harnesses? I mean, we've been talking about gliders all along, but there's no mention of harnesses
Yes.
anywhere.
Yes, hammock style harnesses are very comfortable for the back because of no pressure point. But then again, that exact pressure point on their size is very important for precise flying, especially with higher rated gliders.
Okay.
I consider the seat boards like a car seat. The more fast the car is, the more you need a seat to support your sitting position.
Okay.
Like Ricardo seat, for example. The more you are connected with the glider, the more you can be precise. And especially after collapse, because I had collapses when I flew seat pods and it was okay, and the same glider with hammock harness and it wasn't really okay because you don't have a pressure point. In my humble opinion, I think I personally privilege the seat harness, uh, especially the ones without pods. So a simple harness for the beginners, for the XC. But okay, some will say, what is he talking about? The trend is pods. Okay, go for pods, but please be sure that no glider you are flying is certified with pod. Your center of gravity with the pod is not the same as your center of gravity without pod. If you choose a seat harness, it offers higher security while sitting properly, straight up, and they do not alter performance. Believe me, if you fly, I made that performance flying with somebody with pod, and I was sitting in the harness, sitting,
Okay.
just putting my feet in front of me. The difference is between 5 kilometers is maybe probably not more than 5 meters. So yeah, but if you use the bar, if you're more than 45 kilometer per hour or 38 kilometer per hour, it will change a bit. But
Okay.
you're flying hands up, it's no use to put a
Hammock
pod.
on. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's okay.
All right. Okay, we'll just do a couple of quick questions. Yeah, and then we'll wrap this.
Yes.
What would you recommend as a great ENB to a beginner?
I'm sorry, A and B to a beginner?
ENB, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I should not recommend a B because I should say that each pilot and each individual is special, is different, because
Okay.
from a session maybe there is 10 pilots going to a school, and those 10 pilots are learning paragliding. There
Yeah.
is one or two pilots that say that you see them evolve very rapidly, and they understand every movement in the air. And
Yes.
there is some pilots that needs more time and more feeling. So this only the instructor that can say that this pilot should fly that wing or should fly. That's why I put that C chart. I mean, in the C chart, there is some low B gliders that
Okay.
are easier to fly, and that some big glider that are more demanding to fly. But
Okay.
today, if any new pilot got on an A glider, doesn't mean that he will always stay on the same side. I mean, you have in India, you have lots of beautiful mountains and great areas, and
Yes.
with a good pilot with an A glider, today's A glider can really make nice flights. Anyway, that's to say it. But
Okay.
if you want a big glider, he can go for a low B, of course.
Okay. So you don't have any personal preferences. Any lobby would be good, yeah?
They are all similar. I mean, no, it's difficult for me to say a preference for a low B, because low B are meant for pleasure flying,
Yes.
meant for comfort. It's not for performance flying. More, they will give you plenty of performance, but it's more for comfort rather than performance.
Okay. Okay. Now, something on similar lines, if you would want to answer, what would be an ideal progression wing into C category?
in the C category
Yeah, on a
today.
progression from a high B to C, what would be an ideal progression wing?
Again, I can suggest also to look at the aspect ratio. If you want a C glider, you can have the lowest aspect ratio C glider, and you
Excellent.
can look. For example, okay, I want a glider that handles quickly, and then you look at the chart and say, ah, this handles quickly, and
Uh-huh.
and okay.
Okay, that's great. Okay, now one
Okay,
personal question
KK.
from, yeah.
I just wanted to mention to Ziad that it was nice to hear him
Thank you.
quote Krishnamurti.
Thank
And
you.
I think what the line he was looking was for that truth is a pathless land.
Yes.
And you cannot approach it by any path whatsoever. So that
Yes.
that was interesting and nice to hear.
Thank
Ziad.
you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Avi.
Uh,
All right,
I'm
gentlemen. Yes.
Look, I have to to say something. We didn't say it in the whole test, and this is, I think, I should say it. This is
Yes.
every size from one model. From one model, if you take every size from one model, let's take maybe, for example, a Mentor 6 or a Rush 5 from one model. Every size differ a lot compared to the bigger or smaller size in terms of feel and performance.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
means if I do a test on the example S size,
Yes.
it won't reflect the M size or the L size. Probably it will be similar in 80%. So it's always you have to test the gliders, because smaller gliders are more difficult to pass that certification box, and they alter it a bit. They made knots on the B's, on the C's, and that changes a lot. Today, the gliders changed a lot when you alter it on the B, on the C. So another very interesting issue is that manufacturer arrived at the extreme of line diameter, even in the B. If you look at the new Bs, they use the same lines, um, 90%.
Okay.
For B, C, D, and it means that they are using 90% similar lines, widths. And those lines are thin and will change in time because of the rush for performance. They are using the same lines,
Yeah.
but those lines will change. So a high B glider, a high B glider, and the C, of course, but a high B can change after 50 hours and will behave differently from its original shape.
Okay.
That's true, but the
Yeah.
gap is large. The gap for certification on a B is large without bad consequences. I mean, if it has a stretch of lines, they gave the certification 0.8 or 1 millimeter sometimes. I don't know, 1 centimeter. I don't know
Okay.
the rules, but without any consequences on that B. So it's just different. C and D, of course, they will change, and for sure CCC, the two liner need adjustment constantly. It's like a 30 hours or 20 hours constant adjustment on the trim to get it to original. It doesn't mean that it will not fly. It will fly, and it will fly maybe better. I don't know. If it's trim fast, after 50 hours, it will be trimmed a bit lower, and it will climb better. So that's what I wanted to say.
Excellent. And do you have any advice for all the people progressing up, Ziad?
Uh, of course, I mean, the best thing to do to progress is not to change glider often. No, it's to kite and control the glider while on the ground, even after 1,000 to 2,000 hours. I mean, if you're on your in any spot, not on the takeoff. I mean, on the landing, on the any spot there is wind, there is a breeze. You play with your glider will give you the most benefit. But always wear a helmet doing it, because I see pilots kiting glider without a helmet, and pilots get quickly injured on the ground more often than in the sky, because helmets are very important. So kiting the glider is very important, because the movements and the controls you do on the ground are 90% similar or the same one as those you feel in the air.
Excellent.
Okay.
Ziad, you can turn your video on. We'd like to
Yes. Yes. 1 second.
Okay, we have one last question. Let's not leave him. Rakesh, a quick one, please. Rakesh, do you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi guys. Hi KK and hi Ziad. Big
Hi.
fan again. My question is for a pilot who's flying wings that responds mainly through brakes, switching to a wing which doesn't talk much with the brakes but responds more with the risers. How significant is it going to be in terms of the flying style and the progression to adapt to such a wing?
Yes, this is a very nice question, Rakesh, because it's a sensible question to me. I privilege gliders who gives feedback from the brakes, because you feel like an eagle. You know, you have the extension, and you feel everything from the tip of the glider. This is for me a glider that I cherish a lot. I like gliders that gives feedback from the brakes. And my favorite one now that I fly is a Q Light small, and it gives both from the risers and from the brakes. The difference is huge. I mean, if you most gliders give feedback from the risers, they are good, but you shift. But I mean, if you want to fly like you feel the glider, it's nice to feel every tip. The tip, you feel it, and the thermal, it pulls your hand. You know, like the feathers, it pulls you into the thermal. I mean, that's it.
Okay, cool. So I basically I switched to Gene Explorer recently, and coming to it, I find it very different, and I am trying to figure out trying to figure out my timing and response, because I'm used to feedback to the brakes. Well, I guess it's just time that will help with it, I guess.
Yes, but also if you, it cannot change that. Yeah, the glider gives you feedback from the risers. It will always give you feedback from the risers whenever you switch harness or not. But the harness also is very important. I mean, lots of harnesses differ a lot. Testing gliders with different harnesses has different feel, not performance, but feel. So if you want, what harness are you flying?
I was flying Super Delight.
Delight 3, 2?
Delight 1.
Delight 1, okay, okay. Okay, I understand. That one has the not ABS, it's separate from down the attachment, the leg attachment is separate. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now this should give you a bit. This should give you a bit more authority on the shift. That it has a small seat board, huh?
No,
This one.
No, it doesn't have a board.
Okay, let's try to put a small board on that one if you can. Can you slip? Does it have a place for a small board?
I'll have to check. I have to figure. Maybe if possible, I'll try that.
Okay, maybe it would give you just a little bit of connection.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Ziad. It was very lovely speaking to you, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Krishan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having
Thank
me.
you,
Thanks,
Ziad. It
Ziad.
was very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ziad. It was a
Thank
wonderful
you.
session.
Thanks, Ziad.
KK, thank
Thanks,
you.
yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Ziad.
KK.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Ziad.
Thanks, Uday. Thanks, Badri.
Thank you, Ziad.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ziad.
Thank you, Ziad.
Thanks for
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,